Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dan on Sports. Is there anything more pathetic than the state of the New York football teams from the metropolitan area? Because remember, Buffalo also was in New York. But I'm talking about the New York City area, the New York Giants, the New York Jets. You know who I'm talking about. They are a combined 1-9 through week 5 of the NFL season. What a disgrace. And you know, it's one thing if it's a team is having a bad season or even back-to-back bad seasons, but they're rebuilding. These teams have had back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back bad seasons. It's a disgrace. It's awful. They don't get better. They get worse. Each year grows worse. How about the Jets under Aaron Glenn, who was going to turn things around? And the Jets weren't all that bad last year. This year they're pathetic, 0-5. They were out of that game against the Dallas Cowboys by the first half. 30-3 the Cowboys led. I don't want to hear about the Jets started putting points on the board. 30-3, that's all you need to know about the Jets, 0-5. And we heard that Aaron Glenn was going to be a tough taskmaster. Well, how's that turned out? The players have tuned him out through 5 games of the season, 0-5. And then you've got the Giants. Maybe they were going to turn things around with Jackson Dart at quarterback of that win over the Chargers. And then they go down to New Orleans and blow a 14-3 lead. I don't want to hear the Giants are without Malik Nabers. The bottom line is they jumped out to a 14-3 lead without Malik Nabers. The bottom line is they kept turning the football away. Here's all you need to know about the state of the New York football situation. The Giants in that game against New Orleans on 5 straight possessions gave up the football. 5 straight possessions. The last team to do that? The Jets. How bad can you be where you cough up the football on 5 straight possessions? Awful. Just awful. Now, I think that Brian Daboll is coaching for his life in the game on Thursday night against the Philadelphia Eagles. It would not surprise me if the Giants get embarrassed by the Eagles on Thursday that Daboll is shown the door, because this regime has turned out to be just as awful as the previous regimes. Very disappointing after 2022 when they made the playoffs. Since then, it's been all downhill. Not that they make the playoffs every year, because, you know, occasionally they'll make the playoffs, twice since they won the Super Bowl last in 2012? 2 times they made the playoffs since then? That's awful. This is New York. This is the #1 media market in the country, and they cannot field a decent football team with 2 bites at the apple. They've got 2 teams, and each one of these teams is pathetic. You would think if one is up, the other is down. They're both down all the time. It's an absolutely disgraceful situation. It really is. I mean, you look at the NFL ratings, they're through the roof. Can you imagine what they would be if both or either one of the New York teams was contending? And the bottom line is it doesn't have to be this way, because you've got perennial contenders out there. You've got, for example, the Buffalo Bills, although I know they were upset by the Patriots, but they seem to be in the race every year. Kansas City Chiefs, obviously. San Francisco 49ers. Now, they're a great example. They had an off year last season after having prior successful seasons. But look how they have bounced back this year. So it's just the state of New York football at the professional level is a disgrace. I don't know how they change it, but I will say this. The Giants regime is on thin ice. The Jets regime gets a pass because it's a new regime yet again. But it's the same old New York football. That's going to do it for Dan on Sports. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you later.